Yo, what is going on, guys? Zog here, and today I'm bringing you guys the 13th week of the weekly recaps for the Sword Division, and I am alone this week. JB and I had some scheduling issues, and as you guys can hear, this is my morning voice. So, first and foremost, sorry we couldn't be together, but we will be together next week as this show will be continuing on through playoffs. We will be recapping all of the Sword Division playoff matches each week as they happen. So if you guys don't have time to watch all the games, we're right here for you. But be sure to go check out those coaches. Also, go follow the Pokemon WBE Twitter at Pokemon WBE to stay up to date with all the latest happenings in the WBE and to enjoy those fan pick'ems. Also, go buy yourself a shirt because you're going to look beautiful in it. You can get one from the owner's link down below in the description. Be sure to go check that out as well. Go grab yourself a shirt. With that being said and all the housekeeping done, let's just jump into it. So, week 13, there was a couple of games that had very much playoff intentions and playoff seedings determined. But right now, we're going to start off with one that had no intentions on the playoffs at all. We're talking about the Nijmegen Nexis, coached by Automatic, versus the Tennessee Troubles, coached by Deathly I Am. Now, Deathly brought a team of Mega Beedrill, Celesteela, Gardevoir, Kofagrigus, Gligar, Rotom-Mow, versus Autos, Slowbro, Clefable, Cobalion, Raikou, Latios, and Salazzle. Now, first things first, Auto played very, very well, and I think this goes to show that he kind of finally found his form. Not to say he hadn't found it already, but this week, everything just kind of clicked for him, and nothing really clicked for Deathly. And note on the slide here, Kofag died to Memento, so no kill was awarded. Just making sure, housekeeping stuff as we go. But yeah, that was the first thing I always noticed. Now, Deathly, looking at the team matchup at least, just from taking a step back from the game, Celesteela and Mega Beedrill should have put in so much more work. And then Raikou, if it had Hidden Power Ice, had it like Calm Mind, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice, and Shadow Ball. Like that set put in a ton of work versus Deathly. And so there was team prep on both sides that could have been done better. But overall, this was just a culmination of Deathly's season. Not saying he shouldn't be in the WBE, not by any means. But he definitely needs to step it up next season in order to win a few more games if he wants even a shot at playoffs to even sniff it. On Auto's side, really good season from him, kind of recapping it here. Coming in as a replacement coach and playing as well as he did get 6-0'd once, but everyone gets 6-0'd once in a blue moon. As we see right here, definitely happened to have it to him. But yeah, overall, great game on Auto's part, just nothing really in particular stood out. It was just him making the reads he needed to in order to play at the times he needed to. But yeah, that is that Auto versus Deathly game. Moving into our second game here, one of the most anticipated games of the season. We have the Minnesota Vikings, coached by Dan, aka Drive, versus the Bronx Bearticks, coached by Pokegame MD. Now, Joey brought a team of Mega Gallade, Piloswine, Gothitelle, Comfey, Bronzong, and Breloom versus Dan's Talonflame, Kyurem Black, Gastrodon, Venusaur, Zoroark, and Skarmory. Now, Sub-Gastro with lefties was super, super cool in order to prevent it from being toxic right away. I thought that was really, really good prep on Dan's part. Another really, really good prep on Dan's part was the Zoroark because it did a lot of work to Joey's team. Especially because Pex isn't there, Toxapex, because Mega Metric would have just been able to Volt Switch all over because Joey's ground type is a Piloswine. Sorry, not sorry. But for Joey, knowing the end game that Dan had a 50-50 to win the game is what it came down to. And what I'm talking about here is Joey had, I believe it was his, yeah, he had his Breloom and his Bronzong left versus the Kyurem Black and the Zoroark. And the Kyurem Black was in versus the Bronzong at the time. So Joey had a 50-50 to make, either to stay in with Bronzong, letting Kyurem Black go for a Shadow Claw, which did not 2-hit KO. he would get some damage off, Mach Punch with Braylon because it would be in range, and then Mach Punch with Zoroark to be in range. Or if Bronzong had stayed in when he went to Zoroark, that was game as well, because Zoroark would then Zoroark would die to the Mach Punch, yes, but Kyurem Black was out of range, so he would lose anyway. So it literally came down to a 50-50 if Joey swapped and if Dan swapped, and Dan got the 50-50 right at the end game and thus won the game. So props to both coaches on there. Dan does finish the season in playoffs, and we will see later who he plays. Joey has clinched the #1 spot, so he has next week off. So don't be worried if you guys don't see a video from Joey next week. He has the bye week. But yeah, it was overall a very good game and one of my favorite games of the week. Moving into our third game here, we have the New Orleans Pelipers, coached by John aka Pokemon, versus the South Texas Sableyes, coached by In Vivid Color. Now, Vivid brought a team of Mega Aggron, Tapu Bulu, Noivern, Mew, Nidoking, and Sneasel, versus John's Toxicroak, Alakazam, Diggersby, Mudsdale the Goat, Decidueye, and Vaporeon. Now, I think John said it in his commentary. It was, he wants to do the sweepy sweep, and that kind of makes him a bad person. Well, John, I don't know about you, but sweeping and winning, those are some pretty fun things to do, and he seems to kind of know about that. John finished the season with 10 wins, so props to him. But yeah, going to the team matchup here. Tapu Bulu, after the Rock Polish from Mew at about turn 5 or so, was really, really scary to John, and John played very well to not let the Tapu Bulu just kind of win. Having Decidueye there just as a Bulu answer was really, really good. I think Decidueye is going to come if they do face each other in the playoffs, but we will see about that later. I do appreciate the Diggersby, just being a Diggersby and doing Diggersby things. It really had a really nice matchup once Tapu Bulu went down and it got rid of the grassy terrain. Grassy terrain stopping and lowering the power of any ground type move such as Earthquake. So I also like the prep on John's side from Mudsdale having high horsepower on it instead of Earthquake in order to accommodate for that. So just the small things, and holy cow, the Toxicroak set was flames. Oh my lordy, it was so good. Sub, Nasty Plot, Focus, Miss, and Belch. For those who are not aware, once you eat a berry, Belch activates, and you can start using 120 base power and 90% accurate poison type move as much as you want. And it's kind of crazy how much work it does when you look at Vivid's team. Because you just go down the line, the only one that would really possibly take a hit is Mew and possibly Noivern. But I don't know. Noivern's not the bulkiest of the bunch. But yeah, another week where I don't agree with really a big sneeze bring. Yes, Alakazam was there, and yes, it could ship the Mudsdale and can ship the Decidueye. But I'm not a big fan of it. I think Galvantula could have been brought for webs, making the Mew's job a little bit easier, making Bulu's job a little bit easier. Heck, even making Noivern's job a little bit easier just to break. And if he had webs up at the end, Nidoking had a chance to bring the game back, but Diggersby ended up bringing it out, being able to pick up the final kills in succession. But yeah, overall, a really, really close game. John was edging it out at the end because Diggersby just proved to be the better ground type at the end of the day. But that is that. Really good game. Definitely go check that one out as well. Now, going into our fourth game of the week, we do have the Pittsburgh Pichus, coached by Nexis, versus the New York Marauders, coached by Mr. Talent. Mr. Talent ended up bringing a team of Nihilego, the MVP Stunfisk, Gourgeist, Empoleon, Latias, and Gyarados. Nexus brought his team of Mega Medicham, Zapdos, Duoblade, Togudra, Tangrowth, and Swampert. It was a very tough matchup for Drew this week. Looking down the Duoblade and the Mega Medicham, the biggest thing to take away, though, was the Latias, Cosmic Power, and Reflect type. Now, I have a lot of success with the set, sorry, Austin, but one of the things that to note here is Drew did not remember that it took both types, and he thought it just took one. So he was kind of playing around if he got the Ghost type or the Steel type. Now, if he did go and take the both types, he was in against the Duo Blade, so he would get that Ghost and Steel type. So he would be weak to Shadow Claw like he was at that moment. So that wouldn't have changed. However, if you look at the rest of his team, Ghost and Steel does a lot of work. Helps stop Zapdos from spamming Thunderbolt. Mega Medicham just can't spam Drain Punch. Grudra, your Draco Meteor is not going to do as much. Tangrowth is just kind of sitting there because it doesn't do a whole lot. And then Swampert, we really didn't even get to see. So that was kind of interesting on there. If you look at all the possibilities, though, I do like how thought out he was. The turn where Nihilego was in against the Mega Medicham at first, he was thinking about going for the Poisonium Z, he was thinking about going for knockoff, and he thought about switching out. He kind of delved into what would happen with each of those, if anything happened. Whether he Poisonium Z, the Duo Blade, and then it did nothing and he wasted a Z move trying to go for a read for Medicham to stay in, when there was really no need to, because at the time Nexis didn't know if it was Scarf, Specs, Boosting Item, Z, anything to that effect. So I liked both sides of that play. Nexus realizing, hey, this could be Z move, or it could just outright bomb me with like Psyshock or a really hard hitting Sludge Wave. So I'm going to swap out into my Duo Blade, a pretty good answer to this. And Drew reading that and seeing, okay, if he goes Duo Blade, I just waste my Z move, and I really don't want to do that. So he's going to swap out. Even though the score was 4-0, I felt like this game could have been a lot different. Had a couple of things not happen. Yeah, the freeze was kind of expected, but it didn't really do much because the Gyarados got outsped the next turn. So that one, it all didn't matter. It's just a little bit of flame for the fire. The one thing I really think did matter, though, was critting the Gourgeist. When the Gourgeist got crit, it was kind of a sign that things were not helping out and not going Drew's way. So that is something to be aware of. With that, Mr. Talent actually is out of playoffs. So we will not see Mr. Talent or Nexus in playoffs at all. So this is the end of their season. Congratulations to them on finishing well. And let's jump into our second to last game I'll be covering this week. The second last game, aka the fifth game, because I'm really good at numbers, is the Newcastle Nidoking, coached by Patters, versus the Free State Torcast, coached by Duncan Can't Die. Duncan brought his team of Mega Tyranitar, Zygarde 10%, Jirachi, Hitmontop, Araquanid, and Xurkitree, versus Patters, Mega Gyarados, Terrakion, Tapu Koko, Hippowdon, Delphox, and Xatu. This game was super scrappy, to put it in one word. And what I mean by that is this was very quick. This was very not methodical like Duncan usually tries to be, or that Patters usually tries to be. This game was kind of quick, in your face, let's go, pick up the pace. So it was really interesting to me to kind of watch Duncan go, and when the Zygarde 10% died to the Dazzling Gleam, and he said it was a 50-50 for the game, at that point I kind of realized he does not have a good Koko switch in, and this was about midway through the game. So if you look at Duncan's team here, it did not have a lot for Koko. Ones that I do love on Duncan's team that I thought was perfect was Xurkitree. Magnet Rise, Tail Glow, Thunderbolt, Zerk was fire. That really had a chance to just come on and win when Hippowdon went down, and I did like how he set up on it, using it as setup bait, because Patters did end up Earthquaking after the Magnet Rise went off, and then swapping on the Tail Glow. That's just a perfect two-turn scenario if you're Duncan on there, able to get both your setup moves off in succession without having anything happen. So that was really great. I do like how he did go into Xatu, though, once his Pokemon went down. He went into Xatu and defogged away the hazards. The hazards being the sticky webs that Araquanid had set up earlier in the game. So I thought that was a really important turn, because it kind of turned the tides. Specs Tapu Koko, though, was an absolute GOAT in this game. As you can see, it picked up 3 kills and kind of secured Patters a playoff spot and actually eliminated Duncan from playoffs in general. So that and Fightinium Z's Terrakion was actually really cool. Allowed him to take out Hitmontop, which was really important, because Hitmontop was his best answer to Terrakion. If you look at his team, he does not appreciate Terrakion's dual stab. So that is something of note as well. But yeah, overall, a fantastic game. Definitely want to go check that one out. Scrappy is the word of the day for that game, I guess. Going into the last game we're going to be covering today, we have the battle for the Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Beware is coached by Wolfglick versus the Milwaukee Sawsbugs coached by Magnitude. Now, Magnitude brought his team of Mega Swampert, Thunderous Therian, Politoed, Quillfish, Azelf, and Armaldo versus Wolfie's team of Mega Blastoise, Excadrill, Tornadus Therian, Weezing, Gigalith, and Verizon. Now, going from, as we always do here, we have to do our intro analysis. So, Wolf, what kind of mouse is that? That was kind of cool. I do think that any camera angle Wolf has is a good one, and I think this kind of proves it. And air mattresses suck to roll up. Now, Wolfie doesn't really need the luck from the good luck when Steve had just replied to him, have fun, as some people do. Now, voice crack glick is the best kind of glick, although stay hydrated, kids. Now, yelling does fix everything, and you turn it upside down. Now, it works, everyone. Just remember, it works, forehead. But going into the actual game here, Wolf went into this game knowing that Mega Blastoise could not get kill leader, but he still wanted to get the most kills possible because Mega Lopunny had 24 going into this game and Blastoise only had 17. Thus, there was no feasible way where Blastoise could become kill leader. So, Wolf went into this game just trying to pad stats, and because he knew he was already locked for a playoff spot, and there was no way he was not getting one. So he was just playing to have fun at this point. And I think that was kind of really his entire game this week. The one thing I do really want to point out that was really interesting to me was if the Thunderous got hit first by the sand, then he was faster. Because I believe at the time it was his, I want to say Virizion versus the Thunderous Therian. And in order to check for Scarf, the sand was up. So Thunderous Therian did not get hit first by the sand, and Virizion did. Now, sand does go by speed, like base speed stat, and that includes Scarfs and everything like that. So that was a really important piece of information for Wolf to get. And honestly, one of the cooler things about sand is that you get to understand who's going to move first the next turn. So it's something to always point out, and if you can, pay attention to that in your leagues, because you never know, it might save you one day. It's something small, but does make a difference. Excuse me. Look how much, though, it meant for Blastoise to get all the kills. When Excadrill killed the Swampert, it was really heart-wrenching, because if you watched Wolf's side of the battle, he was screaming, no, 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 trying not to get it to get that kill, because you wanted Blastoise to get all 6 kills if possible. Now, Steve, I wasn't really sure if sacking the Azelf to Blastoise was a good move, because I do think Thunderous had a lot of merit in this matchup. Hidden Power Ice, Thunderbolt, and Dark Pulse had a lot of chances to just do some work. Dark Pulse just being nice coverage overall to hit things, and also hits the Duosion, which we haven't seen in Akun's age. But yeah, that is kind of that game. Mega Swampert had a chance to do it with Rain. Politoed is pretty cool. Wolf thought it was going to be Z Belly Drum, so I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, that is all I have on that game. Now, side note, K-Cray and Boffin have not played yet, and if they have, I have not seen it, and I am recording this in the morning. You guys are watching it. Whether or not you're watching it today on September 11th, or any day like Christmas Day for some reason. Alright guys, that is going to do it today. I hope you all did enjoy. Of course, if you guys did have any feedback, be sure to leave it down in the comments down below. Be sure to go check out the Own It shop, go follow the WBE Twitter and everything. But yeah, that is going to do it for today for me, guys. Words from JB being #DisableAdBlock, and I'm going to get on out of here today, guys. Peace out, Scouts.